Sweet. Day 3. It's been a few days. It's Monday, and I just got done putting the parking brakes in. So we got that all routed and bolted down. I don't know why this is in the middle. Doesn't seem to be anything there that it's going to hit on. But I moved these two up here because they're going to rub on the leaf springs, these little sheaths here. Still got to adjust the e-brake, but I got this all put back together. This was pretty tough getting this together. It was pretty snug. Got the new joint put on. And so that's where we're at. We're ready to put the axles in. I'm gonna put these brake lines on. Alrighty. In she goes. That went in nice. TWSS. I put them in dry. A lot of people might frown on that, but as long as you get this thing full of oil, the oil level's right about here. Give it a couple rotations. Everything that was dry is going to be lubed up. I can pretty much guarantee that. So that's my reasoning for doing that. Something I forgot to do. I like to buzz all this rust off right here, so when you shove the axles in to get the clips on, you don't destroy the new seals. So we got those both cleaned up. I'm going to stick them back in. Here's a little tip. If you forget which way these went in, so they have witness marks, you can see the mark on this one's to the outside, so that faces the outside. The mark on this one is to the inside, so it faces the inside, meaning towards the differential. Outside, meaning towards the wheel. That's how I've always done it. You can even flip them around too if you want to. If they're really worn, they got an edge on them, like my 2007 Silverado with 97,000 miles on it was. You can flip them around, tighten up the clearance. This one here has got 199,000 miles on it, and it feels absolutely perfect. So it's the difference between 1998 and 2007 manufacturing. Just want to throw that little tidbit out there. LPS3 on the base of the axle. Keep that from rusting again. And here comes the left side. She's in there. Coming off the clip. I'm running out of acetone. The most convenient time. So I'm putting these in backwards from the pattern. Actually, it looks like this one's been flipped around once already. So I'm going to put it back in this way. Just going to push a little on the axle because it's not quite going in there. There we go. Now shove her back, pull it back. There you go. Spider gears are lined up for that pin. They are now. Those shouldn't move unless you're like me and like to touch everything. I touch the axle and move them out of alignment. Sometimes if you move them too much, they'll pop out of there if you're not thinking, and you go spinning the thing around and around, or somebody comes over while you're working and wants to play. It'll spit one of the spider gears out, and you'll have a fun time getting it back in there. Not the end of the world, but does make unnecessary work for you, which, as you guys probably know, if you watch my channel long enough, you'll know that I make a habit out of making unnecessary work. It just seems to happen all the time. I'm cleaning off the cross shaft. One end's got a hole. You want to, it's marked, you want to keep that end towards where the bolt goes. So in goes the shaft. All kinds of interruptions. This is actually the pin out of my Silverado. It was in better shape than his. His had ridges in it. But he's got my pin and my cover. Oh, can't quite get in there. Crap. Oh, no, I got it. I was hoping I left it. Run up into the cab and put it in neutral. That's tight. Alright, that ain't coming out. Whew. It's directing the fumes right into my nose. Okay, sure nothing got left in here. Yeah, there's my socket. Wouldn't that be something? Looks good, looks good. Thought I saw a piece of crap in there. Yeah, it did. It's a little, it's like a little piece of a paper towel or something. We got that out. I forgot to turn that stupid camera on. And put the brake lines in yet because didn't want to, but I gotta put this bracket on here. I suppose I can leave it. Yeah, this will move around, so I can leave it hanging for now. I don't want to put the brake lines on until I get the U-bolts installed because I think the brake lines are going to be right in the way. I don't want to be working around them. Okay. Another 6-inch extension disappeared, or 3-inch I should say. Always something, isn't it? Ruin the paint there. Come on. Yeah, it's hopeless. This thing's trashed. No, it's better than it was. Pretty. She looks pretty. Put a little squirt on all these bolts. Keep them from rusting. All right, ready for some fluid. Just like eating at McDonald's. And that is that. Sweet. All right, now we gotta adjust the brakes. I had light drag before. Let's see where that puts us. Right there. Feels like these are out of round right out of the box. Guess I could go a little bit more. Yeah, 21st century quality for you. And it might have been too much. Yep, too much. The self-adjustment got knocked out of place, of course. Yep. That's good. Light drag. I just want to put some grease on this inside of this. Just gonna put a little off-road grease on this thing. Looks pretty well lubed up from all the gear oil that leaked down. Grease isn't sticking very good. This stuff usually sticks to anything. This is that AMSOIL synthetic polymeric grease meant for yellow equipment. Perfect for Massachusetts environment. Okay, I'll do the same thing on the other side. Rear drums or the shoes are adjusted, so now I'll crank down on this. And you feel like they're lightly dragging. I'm gonna go up in the truck and step on the brake here and kind of seat everything in. So I stumped the parking brake to the floor. And they locked up nice, but they went to the floor. I like it to go about halfway. I like it to start getting real stiff about a quarter of the way down. And when it's halfway down, it's locked up. That's just the way I like them. This rod covered with anti-seize, which of course means I will be covered in anti-seize. Now that goes. Okay, stick free, not dragging. Didn't seem like it was going to need that much adjustment, but the seating, yeah, quite a ways to go. I'm not even 20% of this whole distance, I don't think. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, we'll go up and stand on the brake again. All right, we're almost there. Going up the ladder. Oh, man. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Yeah. I'm going to go just a little bit more. Okay. It's feeling pretty snug now. Make sure, oop, starting to lock them up now. Yeah, that's too much. Thought I was feeling some reach there. Too much. Let me see if I can settle around. Up and down the ladder. Yeah, that's pretty nice there. packet. Here we go. That loosened them up. Alright, these things are a pain in the ass to adjust because, as you can see, right underneath that wheel cylinder is where the star wheel is, and there is no access from the back. Usually you got, these are just inspection plugs right here. These things right here, those are just lining inspection plugs to see if you're worn out and due for shoes. Yeah, these are a pain in the ass. You gotta keep pulling the rotors on, I mean the drums. Throw the drums on, check them, and then when you got both of them on, you gotta give it small wiggles so you're only checking the one that you're checking instead of both. So that's kind of a pain in the ass. It's about the end of the day. The sun is gonzo. I'm about ready to pack it in for today. And once I get these brakes all situated here, the only thing we got left, I'm going to hook up the brake lines when the time comes, fill the master cylinder to the brim. Then I'm going to install both bleeders, and then I'm going to crack the passenger side right rear bleeder, hook a hose to the nipple, and let it fly. Once it starts dripping pretty good, I'll stick my Mighty Vac on there and pull some vacuum through it, and that'll probably get the rest of the air out of it. Usually that works pretty good on most vehicles, but sometimes you get problem children where you can't get all the air out without having someone pump the brake for you. So if that's the case, we'll get the wifey when she gets out of work and we'll put her to work. So make her earn her keep, right? I'm just kidding. She's got to kick my ass. But anyways, so that's that. We'll get this thing together one of these days. I'm still waiting on the U-bolts and the shocks, so got a little bit of work left ahead of us here. So we will see you on day 4. That's a very short day 4. Threw a set of shocks on. Got those all situated, and I had to repaint half the cover because this thing dripped brake fluid all night long and left a nice racing stripe of bare metal going down the cover, of course. So I put the brake lines in prematurely and just kind of bent them out of the way. And on that note, I grossly miscalculated the length. I got these way too long. I guess it's better than being too short, but being too long costs you money when you're using copper nickel. If you do that on every vehicle, it's not good. So we're just waiting on the U-bolts now. I'm going to throw the wheels on and get this thing out of the way. I got to get the marquee in here, do an oil change on it, because we're switching to a different oil. Some high mileage synthetic that I got for real cheap. I got about 12 5-quart containers of it, so might as well put them to use. We'll see if that slows the leakage down anyways. Like my shirt. Change magazine. And so it's a few days later. We just broke off the old U-bolt. Twang. Look how thin those got, down to a point. Broke off. This one was broken off long ago. This is the one I broke off with a breaker bar. Even that little pot right there was pretty strong. I had to put a 3-foot bar on it, really reef on it, get it to bust. But bust it did. So we're just waiting for those to come via USPS. Once the mailman gets here, we'll have our U-bolts, hopefully. You know how that goes. In the meantime, I'm gonna grease the U-joints. Vintage tool lovers will like this. It's my grandfather's pneumatic grease gun. Still works mint. Put that there, let it fling off. Alright, see if we can even get in here. Just barely. Get that old grease out of there. Okay, that ought to make a nice mess when it comes around. Spin this around. Looks like they haven't been greased in a while. Pretty dark. They're greased now. So there's a grease gun. No idea what brand it is. Add 5 drops of oil to air inlet before each use. I've been using this thing for 20 years. I don't think I've ever added oil to this thing. It just works and just keeps on working. I probably did oil it at one point, but definitely not every day. I don't know if that's the original hose or not. Maybe not, but everything else is. I love the old stuff. Stuff made to last a lifetime. Got some Amsoil red grease in that one. My apologies, but kind of under the gun here. Got a bunch of tractors I got to get done. I got to get this thing out of here. This is what we got going on here. Some people might frown on the DIY style install of these brake lines, but all the mounting points are rusted off. So there's a use for Chinese electrical tape. Put about 1 million wraps on there. I got a big heavy duty zip tie. I think ain't going anywhere. Nice and solid. Of course I had it a little too long, so I had to coil it up. I don't like doing that, but I had to do what I had to do. Get some tape in there. That's all nice and solid. This is kind of a hack job, but there was nowhere to secure this line anywhere without interfering, you know, with the bump stop pad here. You don't want to put anything in between here. Look at this. Right in my drain pan. Beautiful. So it was white foam, so I just spray bombed it black just so it doesn't stand out like a sore thumb. And got that secure. That's solid. That ain't going anywhere. So bouncing down the road, nothing's gonna hit. There's no contact anywhere. Metal to metal. Anything that is metal to metal, I put Chinese electrical tape in. So that looks like a tight clearance there, and it is, but nothing's touching. It's the main thing with brake lines. You cannot have metal to metal contact anywhere, especially with copper nickel. It's very corrosion resistant, but I don't think it's as strong as regular steel is. So you want to pay close attention to keeping that away from metal to metal contact. All right, so got the brake fluid topped off, set up the ladder, climbed up there, dumped the fluid in. We could sit here all day, wait for it to come. Or we can go get my Mighty Vac. And we'll kind of force it to come down. My trusty Mighty Vac. I've had this for 20 years this year. 2 pump. So I'm going to hook that up there. I'm going to hook the other end up to the pump. There we go. Put my finger over that to test it. And the needle's rising. It's holding. That's a good thing. I always like to check it. These things, they tend to deteriorate with time. In 20 years, I've only rebuilt this once, so I really can't complain. Get that hooked up. Let's see. I guess we'll let it hang. Here it comes. It didn't take long. I hear it, I don't see it. It's mostly air. Yeah, here she comes. I'm gonna go top off the master. All right, master's topped off. Just like to keep an eye on it, because if you ever noticed, the rear feeding portion of a master cylinder has always got a smaller volume than the front section. So you'll run out of fluid a lot quicker doing the rear brakes than you will doing the fronts. Like, try to flush some of the old crap out of there. Sometimes it sucks working solo doing stuff like this. But, you know, work with what you got, you know. I'll go over to the other side. Now we'll go see how the brakes feel. Ugh. Can't see crap up here. Uh-oh. I drained it dry, you dummy. Yep, sure did. It's the problem with these. See how much smaller that front one is? The front one's the rear one's the front. Go figure that one out. That's the way they've always done it. So now I get to do what I just did all over again. It's par for the course. That's what we do here. Do everything twice for good measure, right? Especially when you got a lot of stuff to do. That's always the best way to do things. So anyways, when I'm done screwing around doing stuff I should have done in the first place, when I get a little grease, put a little dab of grease in the little rubber cap. We'll stick the rubber cap on the bleed nipple there, and we'll go up and test the brakes and see how they feel. Brake lines of gold. Yeah, got to run the stuff in New England or anywhere in the salt belt. It's cheaper than stainless, I think. You know, it's a lot easier to work with. I don't know if it's cheaper. I think it is, actually. A lot easier to work with than stainless. Stainless is a pain in the ass. So copper nickel's my fave. That's what I use on everything. Don't look too bad from a distance, I guess. You can nitpick all my little hand bends if you get up close to it, you know, but hey, it's just got to get the vehicle stopped. It ain't a showpiece, as you can see. In a perfect world, we'd all be driving 2019s, but we don't know. This ain't a perfect world. Oh boy, here we go. Take the big leap into the cab. Close the door, stop that annoying sound. And let's see what we got here. Give it just a little bit of brake in case there's any air up by the master. You just rest your foot on it till you feel the master cylinder. It's hard to explain, but you can kind of tell. You just give it little tiny pumps in the beginning, and if you ever watch a master cylinder, you'll see little air bubbles trickling up to the top. Feels extremely mushy. What I might have to do is get the scan tool and purge the ABS unit. Feels like crap. It feels exactly like it did when there were no brake lines on the back. So we're gonna have to investigate that. We'll first check and see if we have any leaks. Nothing leaking. That's a good thing. And even better, there's nothing pouring out of the bottom. We got a little LPS3 drippage going on there. Which reminds me, I gotta spray all that down before we wrap this thing up. I have to show you the U-bolts. Went ahead and threw those on. There's not a whole lot of, you didn't miss much is what I'm trying to say, installing that. So I just went ahead and threw them on. Cut the old ones off. Oh, I didn't cut them off, I broke them off. As you can see, two of the four I was able to get the nut off. The other ones, they snapped right off. But you can see how thin they are. They're pretty much a mess. These two were on the driver's side. See, that one's splayed out. This one's been broken for a long time. That one was about to be broken any day. These two here were just crap. Like that one. This one was intact, but I snapped both of them off. And this one here, been broken a long time, as you can see. Just whittled down to nothing by corrosion. This one here, just hit it with the impact. Impact wouldn't cut it, so I threw a breaker bar on there, and that was that. Snap. There's all the hardware. So, yeah, it was time, that's for sure. So, I guess we'll go grab the tail and head back up the ladder. Well, those are the only systems we got. Powertrain and the airbag module. And that's about that. He's got a downstream O2 code that we don't really care about. In Massachusetts, this vehicle's exempt because it's over 15 model years old, so it's a non-factor, thankfully. Airbag, that's from the vehicle it came out of. It came out of a crashed vehicle, so there's no brake, what do you call it, EBCM brake bleed procedure on this thing. Yes, these are your choices on the special functions. 3 things, that's it. 1996, they didn't have a whole lot. Active tests, engine and tranny. Going to engine. Yeah, we got AC relay, fuel pump, malfunction, indicator lamp, EGR solenoid, evap purge solenoid, and loop status. Probably an open right now, I would imagine. Commanded state none. You can toggle between closed and open. That's strange. Interesting. Anyways, nothing useful in here. I got a board on the brake, as you can see, or not. It's working. Come around, check this. Making sure there aren't any broken shackles here. Broken spring. And we don't. Yeah, we're good. Okay, just want to make sure. Yeah, they're locked up good. So we got 4-wheel braking. Take the board off the seat. Take it for a ride. Sweet. Can't reach the pedals. There we go. Whoa. A lot of power. Watch it. Careful. I don't like the way the... She's a groaner. Pedal's got a lot of travel. It's working. So we'll go burnish the shoes in. They don't work very good. Almost feels like there's no power assist. It's very weird. Something going on there. brake test, so there's going to be a car behind me. Brake light came on there for a second. Sticker. Definitely working. Hot enough to burn my fingers on it. That's a good thing. Let's see if we can do this again. A little bit. Yeah, let's slow this right down. Get them nice and hot. So that's that for the Tahoe. Got all new brakes, axle seals, e-brake cables, rear brakes, wheel cylinders, springs, shoes, drums. Did it all. So she's ready to rock. What else did we do? There we did U-bolts. Discovered the bad U-bolts, and I know there's something else that I can't think of. Oh, brake lines, rear brake lines. So got all that done, got them bled. That is that. 96 Tahoe, rear brakes, axle seals, and all that good stuff. We'll see you on the next one.